There's something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and I really was not sure how to get started, so we're just going to jump right in on a few things. And it's going to center around some of the events that happened during the unfortunate October 7th attacks on Israel. There's some things in there that we need to pay close attention to and try to prepare in the event of such an unfortunate incident ever happening here. One of the tactics that was used by those terrorists was that they actually dressed as first responders and as police officers. And that alone should be very concerning, because one of the things that they did as they were dressed as the first responders, they basically would use that outfit or whatever, and they would draw out potential victims. If something ever happened, you would think that a police officer or a first responder would be who you could go to for help, and in most cases that is true. Unfortunately, what we've seen in those attacks were that there were folks that were the attackers, that were literally deceiving people. That sows mistrust, and that is just an extremely brutal way of attacking those people. Running to someone thinking you're going to get help, and then the next thing you know, that is the person that's attacking you. And it is unfortunate. And I know that there is this misconception that it's easy to see who these attackers are because of their ethnicity. That's wrong. That is wrong on many accounts, because if you start looking into some of these people that are terrorists, you're going to be surprised at who are members of some of these groups. People from all different backgrounds. People from Poland. I actually listened to an interview not long ago where this guy he absolutely was very anti-Semitic, but he was from Poland. He was a big supporter of these terror groups, and that is that's something to think about. It's not just because of someone that is a certain ethnicity. It does not necessarily mean that there's other folks that are not part of those groups as well. We see what's happening here within the cities in the United States even. If you look at some of the groups that we've got here, Antifa and things like that, they are basically doing the same thing. Their terror groups is what they are, destroying property and in many cases harming people. There's actually been a lot of deaths attributed to what they've done. But we have this idea that in the event of something major happening, that it would not be as traumatic. But you've got to think about the fact that these groups are planning and they are training just like they did leading up to 9/11. Now, one of the things that 9/11 did, it basically solidified that they would never be able to easily take another airplane, because people learned from that event that if someone takes their plane, if they allow a hijacking to happen, then they're basically surrendering to the inevitable. And since then, there has not really been any successful, taking of planes, hijacking of airplanes, because of the reaction of the passengers. If you were to do something like that on those planes now, somebody's going to set you down. Those passengers are going to set you down. And unfortunately, I hope that it does not take a major attack like what we've seen in Israel from happening here before we start waking up in this country to what is going on around us. One of the worst things that we can do is to believe that the rest of the world views the world and life in general the same way that we do. You've got to remember, these are people that literally, in some cases, fought to the death in order to harm others. That was literally what they did. Suicide bombings, these attackers do not care. Their only goal is to cause as much harm as they possibly can. It's just like the Terminator. If you guys have ever watched that show, the original show, to where one of the characters on there who's trying to protect Sarah Connor, that how he is telling her They are machines. They don't have pity. They don't have mercy, and they won't stop. And that is the reality and the mentality of a lot of these terrorists. And we need to prepare for it. I know I listen to a lot of the podcasts that Sarah Adams has been on. I know Sean Ryan has been doing a lot to try to get information out there as well. There's a group of people out there that are trying to warn this country, that are doing everything they can to try to get people prepared in the event of something happening. And we need to pay attention to them. We need to train. We need to learn first aid. That is one of the biggest things that anyone can do. Learn first aid, learn CPR, keep some basic equipment with you, and, in the event of something happening, you would be able to help potentially save someone's life. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a terror attack. It could be a car wreck or just an accident that happens to people all around this country every day. But get some training. I harp on that all the time. Get some training and do what you can. But the reality is, guys, we need to wake up. We don't need to simply sleep while those others around us are preparing to do us harm. That's the reality of it, guys. But this is kind of a rambling video. But it's something that I wanted to talk about, and I really did not know a good way to talk about that. But again, guys, these people were dressed as first responders, and they were the attackers in many cases. It's horrible. Guys, thanks for watching. Check out the rest of the videos on my channel. Be sure to leave me a comment down below. What's your thoughts on it? I'd love to hear from you. Check out all of the videos on my channel. Be sure to subscribe. Go over, check me out on Spotify. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.